Okay, let's talk about Staph aureus. Some of you have Staph aureus. Virulent factors include five enterotoxins. Outbreaks are associated with social functions. Diagnosis based on signs and symptoms, and you need to treat it. Okay, why is the elimination of a sugar diet not enough to prevent the formation of all dental caries? Because there are some bacteria that don't need the sugar to live on your teeth. So you still need to brush your teeth, even if you haven't had sugar, but definitely people who do not have sugar in their diet have less of a chance of oral hygiene related illnesses. Okay. Oral herpes, the presence of cold sores, infections may extend beyond the oral cavity. You have in the gingival, you can get herpes on your gums. You can get it in your larynx. You can get it in your esophagus. HHV is human herpes virus 1. It's the most common. Latency established in the nerve ganglion. So this is like a really bad case of oral herpes. Latency. So essentially you get it and then you get a fever and then you get it again. Okay. Infections occur by casual contact in childhood. Primarily infections are usually asymptomatic. So you can carry it. Like someone can kiss you like as a kid and you can carry it for years and never develop the lesions until you get a fever, until you're immunocompromised in some way. And diagnosis is just based on, dude, it's right there. So it's not hard to diagnose it. It's typically a topical solution that gets put on it, and they ask that you avoid contact with other people. Okay, mumps is caused by the mumps virus. Humans are the only natural host. Once among the more common childhood diseases, nearly non-existent in developed country because of the MMR. No specific treatment for mumps, just get vaccinated. Viral gastroenteritis, similar to those of bacterial gastroenteritis. It's just gastroenteritis caused by a virus. Same thing, dehydration, caused by a rotavirus. These viruses infect the cell lining in the intestinal tract, and most cases occur in the winter when people are in close contact and they're not there's no air, the air circulated. And here's what some of those look like. Some common viruses causing gastroenteritis. Here is deaths from rotaviral diarrhea. So I think it is just horrifying that there are still people who are dying from diarrhea from contaminated water. That is really just not okay with me as a human. So I try and give money and time to places that help people who have contaminated water, because I don't think that's a good way for children or anyone to die. Viral gastroenteritis treatment is just the same treatment. You just look for the virus in stool samples or any other kind of samples. Treatment is based on fluid and electrolytes. Prevention involves proper treatment of water, which just, I think, is a human right. Everyone should have clean water. And there is a vaccine for rotavirus at the moment. So viral hepatitis. So this usually includes jaundice, abdominal pain, fatigue, vomiting, and weight loss. So again, this is a virus, remember? And so there's hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. These are all viruses, hepatitis A viruses. Okay, and there is a lovely chart. This is also in your book, also in your notes, about the different ways in which you can tell the different types of hepatitis virus. This is not super important to me that you know, but just know that there's a bunch of them, and we do know how to tell them apart, and we do know how they transmit. So there is that lovely chart. Again, viral hepatitis immunizations have reduced most of the infections, and however, it still infects millions of people in the world. Treatment is diagnosis, testing, supportive care for symptoms. Here is the different types that even look different. The types of viral protein particles produced by hepatitis B. In areas of poor sanitation, which form of hepatitis would you expect to be most common? Infectious hepatitis, serum, or chronic? Why? I will tell you. Infectious hepatitis is the most common because it is spread by fecal oral route. Yeah, so this is like it's really poor water sanitation where the water is not being cleaned from fecal matter, from fecal parts. Gardiasis, so Gardia, essentially, often asymptomatic, diarrhea and associated symptoms can last for up to 4 weeks. Cysts are resistant to chlorine, heat, and drying, and also stomach acid. So Gardia is pretty gross. It's pretty intense in terms of its ability to live in your body. A host will be an animal or person, ingest the cyst, contaminated food with the Gardia in there. And this is what it's going to do. It's going to replicate and ingest its cyst, survives passage through the acidic stomach, and exits to release the tiny little triozoite there. And it multiplies by binary fission until you have a whole bunch of them in your stomach. And then they can cover the intestinal surface, interfering with absorption and resulting in a large quantity of undigested food. The intestinal wall is scarred from the Gardia, and it passes into the colon. Okay. What else do we know about it? It's diagnosed by amino acid. It's treated by something very specific for the Gardia, because this is an animal. Again, we've done micros, we've done viruses, and now we're into protozoans. So Gardia is an actual protozoan. You're probably going to need some oral rehydration therapy, and prevention relies on good hygiene and filtering water. So you need to filter water in endemic areas where you know that Gardia is a thing. Some other protozoans, Amoebasis. So there's just a lot of these. You can look at them. Transmitted by tiny protozoans. Why does the visually distinct appearance of Gardia improve the success of medical treatment? I'll tell you why. Because basically you can just use a microscope. A basic level of microscope work can diagnose this, so it helps. Then they know that there's Gardia somewhere, and they can look at infected areas and find it, again, even with a microscope. So this is why it's better to track it that way. Helminths are macroscopic multicellular worms. They look like this, also known as like tapeworms that bring these kind of worms. They're called worms. Helminthic infestations, flatworms, tapeworms. Signs and symptoms. You're usually asymptomatic for a while. You have nausea, weight loss, diarrhea. There's a beef tapeworm. There's a pork tapeworm. They look like this. They're very, very long. They eat your food. Essentially, the eggs are filled. You ingest the host in undercooked food. Infestation. There's tapeworm species live where beef and pork are. Food for people. Regions of inadequate sewage treatment. Regions where humans live in close contact with these types of animals. Pinworms and nematodes are also long, thin, unsegmented helminths, and they live in your intestinal tract and make you very, very sick, as you might guess. They look like this. Just no. Pinworms sadly occur a lot in children. Diagnosis is based on identification of the eggs. The protozoan are pretty easy to diagnose. 2,000 cases a year of anachiasis. Why are tapeworm infestations of an intermediate host require consumption of eggs and food contaminated with feces? Why is it possible for humans to become accidentally intermediate hosts of these? Because the eggs of the T. solum will hatch in humans and invade tissues in the same manner as in pigs. So food may also be contaminated with eggs if human fecal matter is used for fertilizer. So wash your organic produce. Wash your organic food. It's literally fertilized with poop. Please wash your food before, your fruits and vegetables. Okay, that's it. Take a shower, brush your teeth, cook your meat.